Well, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome. It is great to see all of you here. This is kind of classic. We have nothing but rain and cold and crummy weather for months. As soon as we get sun, everybody wants to hide under the tent. I get that. This is too perfect a day, but it's great to have all of you here. It's a perfect day to celebrate the dedication of the Bob Simon Golf Center. I'm pretty sure everyone here knows Bob taught philosophy at Hamilton for more than 45 years. Now, every college and university has a list. It's an informal list, but every student and every alum knows about it. And it's the list of the faculty that you absolutely must take a class with before you graduate. And Bob was at the very top of that Hamilton list. And it's not because he was a great scholar, although he was. It's not even because he was a great teacher. He was certainly that also. It's because he brought out the best in people. He brought out the best in his students, in his colleagues, in his friends, in everyone he knew. And he did the same thing on the golf course. He coached the golf team, or maybe I should say he taught and mentored and guided the golf team, because for Bob, sport was just another opportunity for learning about life. And that was true whether he was playing or coaching or spectating. And of course, he did a lot of all three. In fact, Bob, along with Joy, attended literally hundreds of Hamilton sporting events. So if there was ever a more loyal pair of Continentals, I have not met them. Now, some of you may have heard me mention a lunch conversation I had with Bob shortly after I started here at Hamilton. And I said, hey, Bob, I'm of a certain age. Is it possible for someone like me still to learn to play golf? And Bob gave what I could only describe as a qualified yes. But it's clear he didn't want to crush my hopes and dreams, so he even helped me find an instructor. And I thought, okay, this is great. But I'm a goal-oriented person. I need metrics. I want to know when I'm getting better. And I wanted to measure the incredibly rapid progress that was about to follow. And so I said, I need a metric. And I thought about former President Gerald Ford, who was a pretty good athlete, as you know. And he said, I know I'm getting better at golf because I'm hitting fewer spectators. Well, that's a good gauge. I'm going to go with that. But what I discovered is that everybody was safe from me, because it turns out that in order to hit a spectator, the ball has to actually travel some distance, and that really wasn't happening. And even more problematic, the more time I spent, the worse I got. And so I thought, you know what I really need to learn to play golf? What I need is a brand new, state-of-the-art golf practice facility. And now we have one. So it may be a little late for me, but it will provide a wonderful resource for generations of students and faculty and staff and alumni and everyone who comes to our campus. P.G. Woodhouse once said, golf is the infallible test. The man who can go into a patch of rough alone with the knowledge that only God is watching and play his ball where it lies, that man will serve you faithfully and well. And I know that Bob always played the ball where it lay. And I know he always served Hamilton faithfully and well. So we are really honored to have some of Bob's family here today with us. I want to publicly recognize them. We have Joy and Bob and Joy's sons, Bruce. Bruce was Hamilton class of 91, and Marc, who was class of 94, and they're all up here broiling slowly in the sun. Bruce is chair of the Department of English at SUNY Fredonia and has been recognized with multiple SUNY Chancellor's Awards for excellence in service. And this dedication also coincides with Marc's 25th reunion. So Marc was coached by Bob, and no surprise, was an academic All-American in golf and winner of the Riffle Award for the top male athlete in 1994. Please join me in welcoming Joy, Bruce, and Marc. So there are lots of people to thank for making this golf practice facility possible. I'm not going to thank them all because I don't want heat stroke to be prevalent. But I do want to recognize publicly Marc Fodorczyk. He couldn't be here today, but Marc has really been one of the guiding forces behind this. He's class of 1995, and his leadership and generous support helped make this possible. And I want to thank all the other leadership donors and the many, many others in our community, students, faculty, alumni, parents, staff, trustees, friends of the college, and friends of the Simons, and all gave generously in Bob's honor. So before we unveil the plaque and cut the ribbon to start and celebrate this dedication, I want to invite to the podium Athletics Director Jon Hind, himself a member of the class of 1980. Jon?
Good afternoon, everyone. This is a wonderful day for Hamilton College and for our Department of Athletics, Physical Education, and Recreation. Thank you all for joining us today and for your participation in the dedication of this tremendous new facility. I'm honored and humbled to participate in this celebration of Bob Simon. On behalf of many, I'm grateful to all of you whose generosity has made this great facility possible. As Director of Athletics and Chair of Physical Education at Hamilton, I want to express my deep appreciation to President Whitman, Board of Trustee Chair Steve Sadoff, Vice Chair Susan Scarrett, and to so many of our alumni and trustees who have provided special support which will allow us all to forever remember Bob Simon. Please join me in thanking this group. I also want to recognize the members of the Clark companies who designed and built this golf center, comprised of a PGA quality practice green, short game practice area, and driving range. I'd ask you to help me extend our appreciation to Chris Clark, owner and president of the Clark companies from Delhi, New York, along with Michael Schultes, Mabel Gutliff, and Rob Champlin. Thank you all. Here on campus, I'd also like to acknowledge Roger Wakeman, Associate Vice President for Facilities and Planning, his colleagues, Barry Rivet and Don Croft, and our great athletic ground crew. Thank you all. Finally, I'd like to thank Lauren Cupp, our head men's and women's golf coach, who you'll hear from shortly, for her valuable input and steady guidance through this entire project. Thank you, Lauren. Bob Simon, for sure, had three loves in his life. I know from all my conversations with him. His beautiful wife and family, his life of teaching and scholarship at this college, and golf. Some actually question the order. At home, he was husband, dad, and Grandpa Bob. Here for most of his career, on our hill, he was professor, colleague, advisor, and coach. To everyone, he was friend, mentor, and supporter. Last fall, I was asked to participate in Bob Simon's celebration of life. At the time, along with so many others, I shared my deep gratitude and appreciation for all that Bob and Joy Simon have meant in my life. I also spoke of his dedication and his commitment to sports here at the college. It really was an easy and fulfilling connection for him because he loves our student athletes so. Bob Simon was our absolute biggest fan. I'm absolutely thrilled that this golf center will now serve as a constant reminder for all of us of Bob, Joy, and the entire Simon family. Thank you all. I'd now like to ask, President Whitman's up here with me, but Joy, if you'd join me with Marc and Bruce and Lauren up to the podium so we can unveil the plaque and help with the ribbon cutting. I think. Yep. Everybody.
All right, first we're going to do the plaque, I think.
Yes.
So I'm going to unveil the plaque first and then read what's on it. So the plaque reads, Bob Simon came to Hamilton in 1968, where he taught philosophy and for many years served as Hamilton's golf coach. An authority on sport ethics and the author of Fair Play, Sports, Values, and Society, Bob was named one of the 100 most influential sports educators by the Institute of International Sport. In 2016, an entire issue of the Journal of the Philosophy of Sport was dedicated to Bob's scholarship. Remembered by generations of alumni as a stellar teacher, Bob received the Sidney Wertimer Award, presented by the Student Assembly to a mentor and active participant within the Hamilton community. He also received the Samuel and Helen Lang Prize for Excellence in Teaching. The Alumni Association presented him with its Distinguished Service Award in 2010 and its highest honor, the Bell Ringer Award, in 2018. And I'm pleased that we have this wonderful plaque. It's a replica, but the real plaque was a bronze plaque honoring Bob. And now I would like to invite our group to join me in cutting the ribbon to celebrate this occasion. We're going to all do this together.
No, that's it.
Would you like to participate?
Of course I will.
Here you go.
Hold on.
There we go. Now you can ask Lauren to say a few words.
I think I just lost my
Pick it up after
Oh,
us.
there goes my remarks, but I think we're going to be asking Lauren Cupp, our wonderful golf coach, to say a few words. If you see someone who looks a lot like me driving away on a golf cart, ignore that person. I apologize, but I'm supposed to be speaking simultaneously at another reunion event, and I have not fully mastered the art of being in two places at once. So thank you all for coming today.
Thank you.
How you doing?
Thank you, David.
Hi, everybody. I'm going to start with a gigantic thank you. There are so many of you here that have made this project possible, and I realize that it's been a really large undertaking, but I know it is so worth it. The golf teams and Hamilton community will reap the benefits of this championship facility for decades to come. I'm extremely fortunate to have known Coach Simon and his family and have had the opportunity to have a voice in this project. I first met Bob and Joy when I was a high school student at New Hartford, a local high school, and I was playing on the high school volleyball team. And during one of my games, I looked up into the stands, and this may shock you, but it was not overrun with a big crowd. But Bob and Joy were there, and they were there decked out in their buff and blue. And I thought what any high school athlete might think. Finally, the volleyball coach has come out to watch me play. After the game, I went up to Bob and asked him what he thought of the game. And when he replied, "Pretty good game, but I prefer basketball," I realized that maybe he wasn't there to recruit me as a member of the volleyball team. All that know the Simons know their passion for athletics. There just happened to be a break in the schedule that week, so they came and watched the huge NH versus Whitesboro showdown. But I'm very glad that they did and continued to come watch me play, because the Simon family became very influential figures in my life. In the years that followed, every time I see Bob, he would tell me about Hamilton College, the amazing facilities, the awesome professors, the athletics, the sense of community. Every time I would reply with, "But Bob, I can't go to Hamilton. They don't have a women's golf team." Bob would always counter with, "Then start one." As you can see, Bob was an excellent salesman. He wrote my letter of recommendation to Hamilton, and I did start the first women's golf team, which I now proudly have the pleasure of coaching. Thank you. His support and his guidance during my years at Hamilton were in no small part responsible for my decision to pursue coaching as a career. He served as a faculty advisor for the team when I began coaching, where he always made sure that I kept my main focus on preaching honesty, integrity, and excellence. What a beautiful way this is to remember Bob Simon. All who were fortunate enough to know Coach Simon, whether it was in the classroom or on the course, will remember his love and his passion for Hamilton College and for the game of golf. It's doubtful that anyone connected with Hamilton during his tenure was not touched by his commitment to the college. Now, I know that some of you in this audience are missing the number 6 tee shot. Do you know the one that I'm talking about? In fact, it's giving me agita looking right down at right now. But you know, the one where you had to have a driver in your hand, right? And you're trying, see those trees over there? You're trying to hit a big swooping cut over those trees and into a fairway about as wide as this podium. Only to find out when you walk up there, you haven't hit the fairway, you've actually hit someone's windshield coming into Loop Road. But this facility here has been an absolute game changer for our golf teams and will be a wonderful asset to our physical education classes and our Hamilton community. Our golf team no longer has to leave campus for practice. We can go right outside our back door. Those that want to practice, and I hope they all do, can come out here anytime and practice. We even have the luxury of hitting indoors. Yes, these are heated, and yes, we need them heated. We get a little inclement weather here at times up on the hill. Golf is also one of Hamilton's most popular physical education classes. Now, classes can come right out the field house door, go over to our 14,000 square foot putting green or wedge area, and learn to play the game of golf. The Hamilton community will be able to take advantage of this beautiful area as well. Students, faculty, staff, and some alums will be able to get some exercise and practice outdoors on a free, top-of-the-line facility. And it's funny, when we first started using this facility in the springtime, we started, of course, just calling it the practice facility, the campus range. But it very quickly and very appropriately has taken on a new name. Now we just call this space the Simon. So practice today, team, will be at the Simon. Let's go over after lunch and hit balls at the Simon. Or, unfortunately for this spring, man, I lost my left shoe again while picking the range at the Simon. But now, every time that we practice and we speak the Simon name, we will be remembered of his legacy. Every year when the new faces come to the hill, they too will recite his name and tell stories of his tenure. What a beautiful way this is to remember our beloved coach, teacher, advisor, fan, mentor, and dear, dear friend, Bob Simon. Thank you. Now for the very exciting part of today's program. We have the ceremonial tee shots that are going to be hit by Bruce and Marc Simon, and you've heard all that they did on their time at Hamilton. I'm sure they're in just as good shape.
Before we hit the ceremony opening shot, I do want to let everybody know that we have not stretched out at all, so there could be an injury, but we'll do the best that we can. We also have Dad or Grandpa Bob's bag, as he's so affectionately called, and we're going to bring that to the range with us. So give us a minute to get prepped, and we will get the opening shot hit. If we can ask everybody who is capable to come a little closer and to give us a little bit of support while we're hitting the shot, we would appreciate it. So again, it's hard to believe it's been over a year since Dad passed and 7 months since the celebration of life service, which was really an incredible remembrance. And On behalf of the entire family, again, we're going to keep our words pretty brief today, but we really wanted to thank everyone who was so instrumental in bringing this amazing remembrance and facility to life. And again, there were so many names and so many people and so many supporters that it's impossible to thank each of them individually, although we'd like to. There's a couple that we'd like to call out who have been really instrumental in getting this off the ground. Number one is Marc Fodor, class of 95, who was a teammate of ours on the golf team, and Jack Withiam, who I believe is here as well. We'd like to give each of them just a huge round of applause. We'd also like to thank Coach Cupp. She's just been amazing for the college and for the program. And for those who don't know, she's actually the #1 ranked speed golfer in the world. So a big round of applause to Lauren. We'd also like to thank President Whitman and actually the entire staff of the Communications and Development Office, specifically Mark Monti, Mike DeBragio, Dick Tantillo, who we've known for just a really, really long time and have been so helpful in again, bringing this to life. Beyond that, again, so many donors who have donated their time, their money, their energy to get this off the ground. And then in addition to that, all of the students, the alumni, the college golf team members, our neighbors, Dad's playing partners who came in from Colgate to be here today, some of whom we haven't seen in probably 30 years. And in fact, the entire Clinton and college communities and in fact, all of upstate New York, which is really just, for us, made it, it's made the last year a lot easier, and we're just so grateful, so thankful, so appreciative, so humbled by the support from everyone. So thank you again.
So there's so many memories, great memories in this site. Marc and I competed against each other. He beat me again today. But, Mom and Dad would take us down. Sometimes we'd walk it down the hill to the third tee or walk all the way to the first tee. It was really sad when the 9-hole course went away. So we're so happy that there could be this facility where a whole new generation of golfers can make their own memories here. So thank you to everyone who made this possible. And to all the people who are going to use it in the future, I hope you don't have too many shots like mine.
We're going to bring up Lauren one more time for some closing remarks. Thank you again.
Lastly, we'd just like to give the Simon family something of our appreciation. This is a framed photo of the photo that is also on the rock and the dedication. Thank you all so much for coming and for celebrating with us, Bob Simon, and this wonderful new facility that we have here on campus. I hope you all really enjoy the rest of your beautiful weekend, and that it is beautiful, on the Hill. Thank you so much.